Alrighty, let's get into this. Team Envy versus Atlanta Academy.
Things like Afari could be absolutely devastating.
He did get to yesterday. Yeah,
Turn
exactly.
that down a bit. I just want to be able to hear the sounds and stuff. Both team.
We're on our first map, Oasis.
Coming on Goat. Elevote's actually going to come out on the ball.
Not running quite that much of a standard composition. It is 3-3, but they have Elevote
Not
on
typically
hand.
what you see. It's definitely different. So right here, both teams, like just starting off right, like both teams they're playing a very aggressive style. They're gonna both rotate point. Envy with the ball are gonna want to be looking for a displace, okay? So either a knock-up or a slam, and then to engage off of that, or boops, or even potentially booping someone in order to do so. So let's watch this fight. Through first time, bubbles from both sides, and Bird's gonna get taken out. How does Bird die here?
Get onto Bird and dispatch, so it's gonna.
It is 3-3.
So Bird is fine. Let's slow it down a bit.
But they have Elevote on Hammond.
Yeah, the swap.
So Gator's got Cryo, but he's gonna get bubble earlier. The slam's gonna come in right on top of Bird, and Bird is sitting right here. So this is exactly what Envy want. They sent Elevote through this way. He goes for the drop down, which leaves him still having his cooldowns available. Bubbles come out early from Atlanta Academy. They want to go aggressive, right? But I don't think they expect the ball. So the ball comes in, gets the drop down. Bird's knocked up and punished as the full engage comes through. And now Gator's separated out. And they kind of have to get out, right? Here, like, you don't have the Discord, you don't have the Harmony, so it's going to be a lot harder. I'm going to put this back at normal speed. So right there, like, as soon as that pick comes through, without your Zenyatta here, you're not going to be able to sustain a fight. You don't have any ultimates to sustain a fight. Right? They have just as much like damage output as you do, potentially. That extra body, extra tankiness. They have Harmony Orb and Discord Orb, so they're automatically healing more. They're automatically damaging more. So good instant disengage from Atlanta Academy. Good that they can get out of here. Hopefully they get out without losing anyone. The Slam's going to try and come through. All right. Elevote's not gonna get anything else. Really nice disengage from Atlanta, but I actually really like this from Envy to roll out on this because it's an easy setup when you fight on point here, right? To just drop on top of them. As well as if Atlanta Academy had, say, come out on floats, right, and wanted to take the high ground over here. This is a lot of knockoff potential, a lot of boop down potential into your Rhine Goats. It just offers you a lot of different value in a first fight with the unexpectedness of it. Maybe not so much here. You still get the displacement value. Honestly, it's comparable to Doomfist Goats, right? Like, yes, Doomfist Goats may have a little bit more pick potential, but Doom Goats is going to offer you that displacement, that knock up on the Rhine. You want to go in, you want to land the uppercut on the Rhine, punch them into your team so that they can get on top of him, punch someone into your team, right? So that you can engage hard and punish that out of position, just like you would see like a Lucio bouncing around trying to boop a Reinhardt. But the tankiness of Hammond means that he's automatically got a little bit more value in sustain here. But he's just as stunnable and punishable, and you lose the defense matrix value. So yeah, and you hear ZP say you can't contest grab. It's a free grab. It's that sort of thing. But here again, they're tracking well. There's the placement into the bubbles. Displacement. Bird's going to be dropped low. And what's actually really well done here from Atlanta is they're fighting in a smaller space, right? It's a lot harder to split them out. So when the ball comes in through this way, even though Bird is already low, so when the ball comes in through this way, hey, it's going to be easier to stun him. He's got less ease of access to escaping because it's tighter, and it's a tighter push in for Team Envy. So it's going to be easier for them to regroup as a team and not get caught out as easily. I don't like this engage from Envy in general. It puts Trill in a really tough spot as he walks in, and I think it would just be better if they allowed Atlanta Academy to be here, try and find like maybe a knockoff, a displacement at this point, opposed to where they are now. But so this is what's gonna happen. Bird goes low. He gets the armor pack, so this is I guess we go matchup. That's an advantage right there. However, Bubble comes in second there, and Saucy does the right thing here. Yes, Elivote tries to knock up and go this way, but Sugar Free is there with the D.Va. You've got damage mitigation for your Zenyatta. The Lucio's fine. Gator has Bubble and hasn't taken any damage, and Saucy backs this way. So effectively, by doing the split the way that Atlanta does it, when Envy tries to push in through here, Atlanta says, okay, you're going to come into this tight little space area, and we're not going to die, and now we've got you set up in this crossfire at a 90-degree angle, so it's very, very difficult for them. The Bubble came out second there. Gator finds a nice pin onto Trill because he doesn't get affected, and Trill's going to fall. Let's watch it at full speed. Astro's going to beat, and the rally is going to get actually popped on the side of Jaru. Sugar Free finds Sharp. They find Sharp, re-engage. Elivote puts the mines down. Now they're just kind of in stall mode. You have the ball for the stall, so it's really nice. Birds almost actually falls. Wow. But so, I mean, it's not putting you at so much of a disadvantage to have the ball that the 34% isn't worth it. I think if they fight this better, Envy actually could potentially win a second fight or even a third fight here. If they wait on the high ground or wait for them to fight more in the open, Atlanta. But Atlanta does really well. They find a nice bubble onto the ball engage onto Gator. Gator finds a good pin in onto Trill. They split up and put into two different directions, making sure they have damage mitigation and heals for their squishies, and then put Atlanta in a nice pincher. They find the pick. I want to go back a little bit though. I want to see if they're low. I don't know about this from Funny Astro. So right here. Right. So let's look at their health. Gator falls low. So the beat drop, the sound barrier here, right? Like we know they don't have bomb. So Atlanta knows they don't have bomb. They know, hey, we can get transfer grav if necessary. I think they're putting themselves in a little bit precarious position for the next fight if Bird doesn't get transfer grav, but however he does farm Elivote quite a bit towards the end. But the beat just says, all right, Gator's low. Instead of waiting on that, let's just re-engage. Let's win this fight. The minefield is kind of dispensable. Jaru rallying here is a mistake. He's already out of position. This is a fight. This is an ult you want to save. You're not really winning this fight without Trill. And their sound varying. I don't think this is the decision. Sharp has no escape. So I don't think it's a bad beat from Funny Astro, especially since Bird. He doesn't get as much value as you want there, right? Like he's still only at 83, but it puts him a lot closer. He gets, okay, there you go. He's got the heals. So he's actually surpassed Sharp. So I actually think it's a really nice barrier. It allows them to just say, all right, we're just going to go. We don't have to wait for Gator to get healed up. We can win this fight a lot quicker. I don't mind it. It's a good beat. Honestly, I think Envy kind of throws by taking the engage where they do. I don't think it's a good engage. I think their resource management was fine as far as armor pack and bubbles go. And Crimso's doing the right thing. I think the biggest issue for me is one where they took the engagement into where is Jar using rally, because you could have that for this next fight. And it really doesn't get you that much more stall. So, but now we're on a mirror match. And you know, it doesn't feed too much, right? Like, yes, Atlanta Academy has ults, but the idea that you get a free grav if they have ball over D.Va, well, it didn't come to fruition. Maybe if they'd won that fight, it would have, but it doesn't. So now they're going to come in. So this is early rally from Sugar Free, and Envy doesn't have a response to this. They've got two real options here. One, ult, which is the one they choose, so they ult. Or two, kite, right? They don't have a rally of their own to counter engage with it, so they decide, all right, why not throw Grav in there? The Shatter comes out from Gator, knocks a couple down. The Trance is there from Bird. It's not a bad Grav by any means, but there's a nice stun here. Just gonna keep them up, and Saucy's actually gonna throw in his Grav later. And Crimzo has Trance. And so this isn't like this isn't a bad play from Envy here, right? They invest a lot in this fight, but so does Atlanta. They know they don't have the rally, so when the rally comes out, they completely mitigate it at this point for the Grav, right? With the Grav, and they force other ults out as well. They force Transcendence. They force Gator's Shatter. I don't actually think Gator needs to Shatter here. The only reason he really needs to Shatter here is the risk of getting pinned, potentially out, but I even don't think it's that big of a risk at this moment. It's a really hard pin when the Grav's right here, especially to get it to a place where he's actually far enough away that it matters. And the enemy Grav itself keeps that away. So I don't think Gator actually needs to invest the Shatter since they don't have Bomb. But it's a good play from Atlanta. It forces ults out from Envy. I mean, it forces ults out on the side of Atlanta, mitigates their disadvantage, and so it's traded. Trill finds a nice pin, and so the issue here, right, like, is yes, Gator goes down. Gator tries to go for something into the Grav. The Trance is still there. It's not going to find any damage. You're no longer getting Sugar Free's rally value, which is crucial here in this sense. It's, I think at this point, like, yes, rally is still kind of going off, but I don't think you're really getting as much value as you could. Everybody already has armor that's going to have armor. And I think after this comes out, they've got the later Transcendence. You have to back out. Gator cannot go in here. And so they try to follow up. Gator falls, and the Shatter comes down onto Saucy, which locks them in this over-engaged position without a Reinhardt. And yes, they find fire, but the over-engaged position means that Trill, having that main tank, having that presence of that Reinhardt, is going to give you a super advantage. And you're kind of stuck because you can't hold Pillar anymore in the middle of the point. You can't hold, like, here's the point. You can't hold Pillar anymore because you don't have that Reinhardt. So they have the instant presence advantage, and they go fully aggressive on it. They know that they have the sustained advantage because their Transcendence lasted longer. The bubbles come out in desperation. And they start to force Atlanta back, and now it's just kind of clean up and stall. And so, not a bad fight from Envy. Envy uses their ults well. They counter ult effectively, and they win the fight, catching Atlanta kind of flat-footed. So, pretty good fight. Not a horrible fight from Atlanta. I think the biggest issue there is they use Gator's Shatter, and Gator charges into a Grav that's got Transcendence there, and only finds their Reinhardt, and so it's kind of ineffective.
Almost saved the fight for Atlanta Academy. Was able to zone it, stopped them from Envy from following up on Trill's Shatter. But at the end of the day, having that Reinhardt alive, having that barrier, all that fire, that focus fire with Trill.
And now Envy is back in control of the point, and they've got ult advantage, right? Because they have a better ult fight there, they get the ult advantage with these that they didn't use. The fact that there was like fire doesn't use beat for bomb because he knows he's going to die to it, and he died to it anyways is good. They have bomb and rally in return, so it actually works out that Jari rallied unnecessarily the fight. 2 fights ago.
Already back in a good spot. Sharp gonna have Grav towards the latter end of this fight if they slow play a bit, which Atlanta's probably gonna have to.
So, alright.
Atlanta doesn't have a lot to dive in. In fact, Elbow disrupts
Oh. That's a beautiful self-destruct.
struck the back, gets shot. Atlanta's probably gonna have to good spot. Sharp gonna have grab towards the ladder end of this fight if they slow play a bit, which Atlanta's probably gonna have to. Atlanta doesn't have a lot to dive in. In fact, Elbow disrupts the
Yeah, so this is actually big, right? Like,
already back at a good spot.
so Saucy bubbles on a 10-second cooldown. 1, 2,
Already back at a good spot.
3,
Sharp gonna have grab
4,
towards the ladder end of
5,
this fight if they slow play a
6,
bit, which Atlanta's probably
7,
gonna have to. Atlanta doesn't have
8,
a lot to dive in. In
9.
fact, Elbow
Yeah.
disrupts
So he's not gonna have bubble.
already back at
Essentially, right?
built it all within the span of
This is really well done from Envy. So they know they want to go aggressive here. They have the ult advantage. They're tracking this. This is a greedy bubble, right? If Atlanta Academy's ult tracking, they should know that bomb is on the table, as is Rally. And I think this bubble is fine if they stay out here a little longer. I think they don't wait long enough. I think this is a greedy bubble, well, because of that, for energy. And what happens is that when they go in, they don't have this bubble, well, available. And so
one fight. So
this is really nice from Envy to use these ults here. They go in, the team's there.
towards the ladder end of this fight.
Right here, this is an issue, right? This space between Gator and the rest of his team is a problem because you don't have any corner value unless Gator backs up. And in order to get value in this fight, Atlanta needs to rush forward to help Gator right now. So what they're going to do is they're going to try and cross this gap, and then as soon as they walk into this gap, up into like this area, the bomb's going to come out, making the retreat a lot harder. It's a beautiful bomb that floats up, rides the wall, and lands on top of Gator's head. The bubble on the Gator is good, but Saucy's going to get found out, and the rally's invested as well from Envy to give them that added sustain as they push in, and to kind of dissuade, say, Atlanta Academy saying, oh, you've got bomb going way behind us, that's fine, we're just going to push in here and take the fight as it is. And so it's really nice. Also, Gator is at risk of, even with just rally, that they could swing wide on Gator and force him this way and try to pressure him out of the point. Out of things. So there's the rally into the bomb. They invest things into it. They find Gator or flat-footed past the corner, and it's easy cleanup from Envy. So it's really nice. It's really, really, really nice cooldown management from Envy. It's good ult economy, and it's just kind of poor play, like really slight mistakes positionally and resource management wise from Atlanta there, because they don't wait in time to make sure they have that bubble back. They're caught out in this mid-fight area, like they're unaware that the bomb is there, and it means it's a lost fight right off the bat. But, and Envy keeps their ult economy. They're coming up on both main support ults. They have both CC ultimates. Atlanta is struggling. They still have all support ults, but they have no offensive ultimates right now. Same approach here.
Excellent spot right now.
And you're going to notice that, like, this time around, Saucy does not go to bubble for energy, right? He knows he needs to be a little bit more aware of that. He adjusts. Sharp is going to grab early. What's interesting here is Fire is using his sound barrier. Yes, Bird uses Transcendence. Fire uses his sound barrier. Which is different, right? Sugar Free's going to rally in response to make sure they have that added sustain. But the reason I think Fire sound barrier is here, and why I don't think it's a bad thing, is that we know that bomb is not on the table for them right now. And they're putting their eggs in the basket of saying, hey, we know you don't have bomb on the table. We think we can win if you were to grab us with just Transcendence. So we're not exactly super worried about that. And there's also this phenomenon that you see a lot of times in Tier 4, Tier 3, and even in some of these matches where pressing Q as a Zarya is getting your team killed, because it's very difficult to push into a grab, especially when they have Transcendence. And if you don't have Bomb, you can take a lot of damage. A Reinhardt going for a back pin can get burst down really, really easily, and you can actually end up losing a fight because you don't have the sustain. So I don't think this is bad. The bubble onto Trill is nice to help him get around and not get shattered. They don't have to worry about shatter either way, but this is a nice bubble to mitigate that damage. Elevote is here with Defense Matrix if need be, and the sound barrier is going to keep them up longer overall.
Transcendence from Bird, and they use the barrier to dive in. That part's a little bit more risky to me. I don't think
so the pin doesn't find anything from Trill, but the nice thing is he pins this way towards Pillar. His team backs off in time, so they can kite back around Pillar if necessary, and they still have ult advantage here, right? Right, so they can extend this fight out. Oh, the rally is coming from the other way. Trill backs up, and so they kind of flip sides, right? They give Prio here, and Trill is starting to back this way, right? Just totally fine, right? Like, they still have point contest. Atlanta have to either farm ults and win that way, or have to press into Team Envy. Team Envy can afford to be patient here. They have point control. They have presence on the point. Right? They can take the time to be patient. Nice position from Hawk on the high ground. Saucy is a little bit late here. The push. Let's see. Let's just watch it. Ooh. So this is not a good push. So let's go to 0.5 speed here. So Gator gets burst, right? Like, he gets burst low, but armor pack is here. Saucy is back and is gonna have bubble. This is a nice armor pack. Trill's gonna try and push in here, right? And Sharp is at a bad position and is going to actually bubble Jaru. He's trying to avoid bubbling Elevote, and he on accident bubbles Jaru, so that when Trill goes in here, even with even with Jaru around him and getting Inspire procs, he's not going to have bubble. He's only going to have armor pack. Gator is going to be full health with a bubble. They're instantly going to have an advantage at Atlanta Academy. They also have sound barrier in order to change the tempo. So Envy backed up really nicely, right? Like, they changed the tempo really nicely. They went aggressive to passive. It works well. Like, they don't find the picks they want maybe, but it's not bad, right? But this is a nice change of tempo. As Trill's going to push in, they're going to recognize the resource deficit and punish with their own beat drop. Hawk is up here. Well, he was. And what Hawk does is actually something a lot of divas don't do. So Crimzo is fine. How does Crimzo drop low? Oh, Crimzo gets orbed. So Crimzo gets hit by where's Bird? So Crimzo starts taking damage now. I think Bird's back here, right? I think Bird finds Crimzo with some damage, right? And takes him to low. What's going to happen is, as this engage comes in, and Atlanta already has this advantage with bubble, well, Hawk's going to go over the top because he's a secured top prio from Elevote, and he's going to finish off Crimzo, right? They know that they can't invest armor pack onto Crimzo, because then Trill is just absolutely going to get demolished. He's going to finish off Crimzo, who pushes in trying to help, right? He finishes off Crimzo. The kite is good. And watch Sugar Free. So Sugar Free recognizes Jaru. The bubble comes in nicely. Yes, they take a decent damage chunk. The sound barrier comes in at a good time. A nice stun from Sugar Free as the whole team begins to rotate this way, to help to support the Reinhardt and Trill, and deal with Trill. Shatter comes through. Trill will be found out. The Brig is going to get followed up on. Monsoon.
Atlanta's able to get around.
Jaru. Yeah.
Atlanta's gonna
So
reset.
Jaru's gonna fall, right? So some poor resource management. Just like a nice play by Hawk. Hawk gets the kill on Crimzo, right? Right, to follow up on. Sorry, I keep using the wrong. Yeah, gets the kill on Crimzo from Bird's like damage output. Right? Envy played this well at the start. They go aggressive. They force ult out of them, right? Right. They're saving Transcendence for Grav, and there's this awkward point where Grav is not on the board, and Jaru doesn't have his rally, and so it puts them in a position where they have to kite backwards. They kite backwards. The bubble is bad from Sharp onto Trill, and it hits Jaru instead. And Trill tries to push in. His Zarya is too far back here. In order to get to him, Jaru pushes around this way to try to create a pincher, but the Zarya is kind of inconsequential. Elivote doesn't have boosters because he's lost high ground prio. Crimzo tries to help the team and gets burst down here. And overall, just some poor resource management and a poor place to engage. Atlanta leads to a team fight for Atlanta. They use their ults well. Funny Astro uses his beat to change tempo really nicely. They get the Bash Shatter. But at the end of the day, they do use a lot, right? Yes, Bird will have another Transcendence. Saucy will have Grav. However, there is and they do have Bomb. So they could win this with Grav Bomb combo. Sharp, nowhere near a Grav. Crimzo does have Transcendence, but they know there is no sound barrier on the side of Envy on the board. They know there's no Shatter because Trill tried to use it with their own Bash Shatter right there. And it gets bashed out at the same time. And Elivote doesn't have Bomb. So they're in a good spot, Atlanta Academy, to keep rotating this. They could even try to go for a bomb engage and force it that way. But these teams are both making the smallest of mistakes, right? Some poor resource management, some poor positioning, like just one or two people out of position, and that's where the punish comes in. And they're using their ults decently. There's a couple ults that I didn't like. Trill trying to go for the Shatter there in a bad position, trying to make a play when he didn't have to. They could have continued to sustain and kite. Right? Jaru using his rally at the end of the second fight. Right? I don't like, but Bomb engages with rally, grabs and that sort of thing. And this is a really nice back and forth, and there's nice punish coming onto mispositions on both sides, right? Envy found the early percentage. They found a nice fight onto a mispositioned Atlanta Academy that gets caught out by the Shatter and overinvest in the Grav with Gator into the later Transcendence. And likewise, Atlanta Academy finds Trill trying to make a play, finds Crimzo burst and in a precarious position, and they position themselves well. They use their priority to win a fight. I think both teams are very, very solid and are putting on a good showing, but they're making a couple small mistakes here and there, and the enemy is punishing them, and it's what's making this an actually close match.
They're going to be heading back over. They have about two fights here to flip, but it might only be one if they're not swift in moving in here. I have to imagine that they realize that, and they're going to be looking to take the fight right now. But again, they just have to be... A big difference you'll see, though, is I think he ends up dropping here, but Saucy's going to actually hold the high ground. Whereas Sharp was not. Yeah, Saucy will drop down. And Atlanta Academy is more than willing to extend this out. They tempo transcend. So what they do, right? Let's watch this. Let's watch this in slow-mo. This is something probably most people wouldn't say is ideal because Bird knows they don't have Grav. They tempo transcend. They're not even really that low when he does it, right? But they trust. Sugar Free finds Hawk. And they get a nice D-Mech. The Grav comes in response. It's a nice kite with the tempo trance. The bomb play is going to come through. Big charge.
Sharp blocks it really nicely, uses a nice ice bubble, well, gets on top of it and blocks it in 360 degrees with his bubble. That's really, really well done by Sharp. A nice rotation. It's going to bubble Trill. Trill gets knocked out of position by Funny Astro here, I think. Yes, Funny Astro will boop him forward. And Trill is too far forward here. Either way, he pushed. He gets knocked out of grab here, right? And he doesn't back up in time. I think he still has his charge. If we go back, so right, so there's the Transcendent. Trill's gonna try and back up a bit. He's gonna get grab. Yeah, so he should still have his charge, if I'm not wrong. Right. So Trill tries to back up with bubble, which isn't a bad choice. The issue is he tries to go back in, right? Like, he waits in this area for way too long and ends up getting booped in by Funny Astro and dying. He's not playing around corner. He's not playing around corner. Or he's in this awkward middle space, and he stays there. He cannot stay there. Sharp is not in a position where he's getting off-angle value over here. You're in contesting Hawk. Funny Astro is free. Elivote is out of mech. Heck, you have to back up here, right? They use their Transcendence. You used yours. You know you get a free grab here, or if you're quick, right? The rally comes from Sugar Free to help him finish. Jaru is caught out trying to help his Reinhardt. And Sharp is never going to get that Graviton Surge. Elivote's actually going to get his mech back with fire drops. This should get burst down quick. And honestly, like, it's not a bad tempo grab from Bird. Tempo trance, sorry, excuse me. It's a good tempo trance, and it helps them find Hawk. And the grab is good. The charge knocks them out of position. But it's not a fight-winning combination, right? Like, even after that, yes, they have the Baby D.Va out of mech, right? So that's an advantage in itself, but it's not fight-winning. And Trill, Sharp is coming up on Grav. Funny Astro is not near with Sound Barrier. Trill is coming up on Shatter. Fire is coming up on his own Sound Barrier. This is something where it's not a fight-winning combination, and because Sharp makes a great play bubbling the bomb from Hawk, and because it's not a fight-winning combination, if Trill is able to get out, and he gets a nice bubble from his Zarya, from Sharp, he gets a nice allied. If he backs up to this corner, right, and they sustain and then re-engage, they have every advantage they need to win this fight. But Trill stays for half a second too long, gets booped out of position, and it's a point win for Atlanta Academy. So once again, it's these small little mistakes, these positional errors. Hawk getting caught out is a positional error he's trying to punish, and he gets turned on by Sugar Free, who peels for his backline and he peels for Bird. Herndon gets punished. His Trill stays in this middle fight area too long, and he gets punished for it. And a team like Atlanta and a team like Envy, both are solid teams that are going to punish those small little mistakes, right? But it seemed like in this round, Envy tried to force things a couple more times, and that's why they lost. Trill tried to force a position, tried to force a Shatter. Crimzo tried to force a position at low health. Sharp tried to force an energy bubble. And so Atlanta capitalized on it really, really nicely and takes those little mistakes and punishes them. And yes, there's other mistakes probably throughout this, but those are the mistakes that are causing these fights to be lost on either side. And but both teams still playing impressive Overwatch and solid Overwatch. I'm really impressed with Atlanta Academy's ult rotation. Maybe not so much in the last fight, simply because I don't know if they need to invest the Grav combo or the Transcendence that early, but it works out in the end. They punish the misplay from Trill, and it's good.
Let's
skip forward a bit.
we're almost guaranteed.
No weird tricks from Envy this time. No Hammond. Atlanta's not going to be caught sleeping twice.
It's an interesting choice, but you know, imagine if they just went with a normal 3-3 and then won first fight.
It is risky. So Envy moving out of here. This offense here.
You're going to see two very different rotations here, right? You have options. So Envy is going to rotate high ground, right? They want to get jump pad priority. And this isn't a bad rotation. The issue is it's dangerously, it's in this like tight space with a lot of verticality. So if they were, say, if Envy were, say, going up against a DPS comp, Pharah would find a lot of value, and jumping up jump pad puts them in an even more precarious position. And as well as if they're playing against floats, they might lose the poke ward, they might lose the high ground ward because Winston can get up here. And it's really, really difficult to push Winston's off of this high ground on this map, because whereas, say, you have stairs, right, on a different map onto, like, Numbani high ground, and you can push in at any time you want, the jump makes it really, really awkward to push in off of it and to get that same value. So I actually really like Atlanta's plan here. Atlanta's rotation says, all right, we'll fight you on the point. We'll give you high ground and goats v goats because right now we don't think it's worth that much. There's this big pillar in the way that we can use as cover and as a nice corner. Or we'll take point prio. If Atlanta was going into, say, a DPS comp, they could back up towards Street Mega and play under there with cover and a lot less verticality risk. So this is fine either way. Envy definitely taking up the high ground. Sharp's positioning, like, some people say to stay up here as Zarya, right? Like, would advise Sharp to stay up here. I don't like it. This ledge is super strange, especially if they hug this wall. It's really hard to get a good amount of damage down. If you're a D.Va, it's maybe a little bit easier to hold that position, but I think it's very, very difficult as a Zarya to find good value here. I want to see the bubble rotation here.
Atlanta going to be holding a bit back here. Neither team committing too
I don't think they committed secondary
here in the city center.
To Trill yet.
Center, it's a difficult one where,
but because, like, so both D.Vas are gonna actually, this is a really cool shot because both D.Vas are rotating different ways up on the high ground. I'd like to think Envy could push in. I couldn't see it well, but if I'm right and they didn't invest Allied onto Trill and Atlanta invested Allied onto Gator, I think they could push in here and try to punish in that window. But Gator does get a lot of value out of that. But Atlanta is in a position where they're not holding, like, whereas in an even fight they're not holding here, right? They're holding more here, which means that Envy has to push past that midway line to try and get to him, and it's a lot quicker escape. And by the time this is set up, there is an allied bubble for Gator. Again, gonna kite the damage really nicely. Trill gets his allied bubble late. Okay. So this is actually really well done. This right here is even with the allied bubble for Gator, this is clinical Overwatch because Atlanta Academy is caught on the back foot, right? They're not pushing in, right? So this is really hard for Atlanta. Like, I don't think they do the wrong thing by backing up here. I actually think they do the wrong thing right here by Gator re-engaging after he gets the bubble. I don't think he wants to do this. I think they want to back off a bit and then re-engage. But watch the bubble pulling resources onto Trill here. We'll watch it at 0.5. Trill gets the bubble. Does he get an armor pack through here?
Difficult one where if you lose first fight, getting back in could be so dangerous. So teams are a little bit more hesitant early on.
Yeah, so Trill gets armor pack like right here, right? As he gets pushed this way, he gets armor pack. But this is really, really well done.
Teams are a
So Gator gets the bubble way too early. Like, if you look at Gator's health bar, it's completely full. And they're not in a position at Atlanta Academy where they're ready to push in. They're not on this corner. They're not ready to push in aggressively, which means this bubble onto a full health Gator is kind of useless.
Early on. Good amount of shield pressure,
I
though.
don't think
It's not
Sugar Free finds
so dangerous. So teams
an
are
armor
a little
pack
bit-
well.
And
One minute.
T-Center,
Gator.
It's a difficult one where if you
Gator takes a little bit
lose
of poke
first
here.
Fight, getting back in can be so dangerous.
Oh, Gator takes a lot of poke, so he's got to get armor pack right there, right? And he gets bubble here because he takes that damage. So they both bubble and damage. Gator cannot go back in right now. They have to back out. They've used all their resources. They have no advantage at this point in time, okay? Resource-wise. But Gator pushes back in.
Early on.
Trill gets the later
Yeah,
bubble
shield
and the
pressure
later
low, so
armor
then
pack, which means he's going to sustain longer. Gator doesn't have any of these resources, so they're even, say, on... How do I phrase this? They're even, say, on, like, Inspire, Harmony, or right? Because both teams have that up. But because of the later bubble and the later armor pack, Trill's going to have more sustain. He can fall to half and then get brought back up. While Gator now it's already fallen low and had that use, so now he can't fight because he doesn't have that those sustain options, and they can't go this way, right? Like, this is not a corner they can hold. It's too wide. This is a really wide corner on this point, so it's really hard for them to hold this, and they've already decided not to back out this way, and Team Envy has swung wide on them already, and Trill is just going to push into Gator here and use their advantage and win this fight outright, and that's really poor. I want to see why Gator takes this damage, though. So he's got Harmony.
Just yet here in the city center. In city center, it's a difficult
Doesn't
one
have
where
Harmony,
if
right?
you
It's
lose
on,
first fight,
and he does. So it's getting
back
switched
in
between
can be
Hawk.
so dangerous. So teams are a little
Right. So giving mid-side prio, right? Giving up this line, right, through middle and fighting this line, right, is an instant, like, you don't have an advantage unless they kite this properly, which is, I don't think they need to use bubble here. Like,
where if you lose first fight, getting back in can be so dangerous. So teams are
And
a little bit more
Saucy's playing on top of him. Saucy's playing in a bad position. He's not in a wide angle.
Where if you lose first fight,
And Sugar Free's not getting his Inspire proc off.
so teams are a little bit
But now there's Gyro. Gator doesn't necessarily need this bubble.
First fight, getting back in
Trill
can be
swings
so
wide.
dangerous. So teams
Gator gets the armor pack, right? He's fine. Right now, he's fine.
are a little bit more
This is a horrible bubble from Saucy. But Saucy doesn't have his personal up, so he can't mitigate the damage walking across. But this bubble is not necessary and is a mistake from Saucy.
hesitant.
Sugar Free tries to mitigate some of that
Early
damage.
on.
Once again, Trill gets the
Shield
later.
pressure, though,
the later
starting
value.
on the Gator, Trill, it's a
They
little
swing
bit
wide.
weakness
Gator's in a
time
bad
running.
position because he tried to go back in after they had used those resources.
Getting very low, gonna get taken down.
Sugar Free is low.
And now Envy.
Now Envy's just gonna say, all right, we're just gonna,
Start moving forward, dealing with
and we're just gonna make sure we sustain.
no longer as
Saucy's over here alone.
on its front line.
This is a really nice. Ali votes in actually a bad position.
The armor pack goes on to him. They need to get Saucy. He is going to die finally in the end. Sugar Free investing the rally, picking up
So,
Trill in return.
This is actually really interesting.
It's going to force Envy to actually use two support ults.
What Atlanta does really nicely here
In the rally.
Arthur Land
is this, right? All right, so Gator's down.
weakness diving on in. Gator getting very low.
So Envy has to sustain, right? If they go in right now, maybe they find Sugar Free, but Saucy's at a 90-degree angle, so Saucy rotates really well actually at this end point, right? Because if they go onto Sugar Free, he's putting in a ton of damage. So is Funny Astro and Bird from this angle, right? And Envy makes the wrong decision here.
get
right?
taken down.
Sugar Free backs up, and Funny Astro rotates this way.
And now Envy. They could just
And because Funny Astro rotates this way, right? The main body of Atlanta Academy is no longer on this side, right? Where it was previously. They're doing this weird 3-2 split with 2 over here. And this rotation from Funny Astro says, cool, we've got the Brigida, we've got the sustain over here, we've got Hawk and Mech, who can do a bunch of damage if you give him the right angle, and we've got a Boop to punish you. And so Envy has to make a decision. They could try and go on Saucy, in which case Saucy has Orb and Bird has a nice sightline to do damage. Sugar Free can get a rally on and a stun off, and you're turning your back to Hawk and Funny Astro here, who can get nice boops and can do a decent chunk of damage. Or you can fight them here and turn your back to Bird and Saucy, right? So even out of the main tank, this split, this 3-2 split concept is really, really well done from Atlanta Academy. And you're going to see, right?
slow this down a bit. Start moving forward.
They make the wrong decision.
Down.
Right
Envy.
here.
They could just slow this down.
So
a
Jaru
bit,
gets
start
booped. Trill gets bubbled early and unnecessarily by Sharp. Sharp tries to go and punish the 3 here with Trill. And Jaru, Fire, and an Ellie vote go this way. I'm pretty sure Crimzo stays this side. Right. Instead of sending the Zarya into a Zarya 1v1, right? With a shielded Reinhardt potentially, or even with follow-up from your Brig, right? They send their Zarya, their Diva, and their Brig into a Zarya matchup against the Zen Zarya. And they try to split 3-2 themselves. Trill goes into a matchup where he's not finding value right now.
forward. Dealing with the
You see Jaru taking damage. You see the beam getting put onto Elivote, just
Atlanta
getting
that no longer has
destroyed.
won its front line.
The Harmony Orb's going to keep him up for a while. Funny Astro, Sugar Free finds the pack onto him. Funny Astro makes the rotation away from Hawk. Because once they've gotten what they wanted, once they got the Zarya to commit it here, Sugar Free and Funny Astro can invest here. Because the Zarya is not being the source of damage they need at this moment. And Hawk's actually going to kite this way. And so now this Reinhardt is ineffective because it's hard for him to get back without a charge. And Zarya's wasted damage going this way, trying to get onto Hawk. That could have been used. The sustain is onto Saucy. Elivote's going to go down in the time that it takes. He will die, but during this, right? Sugar Free gets his rally. Trill charges back this way and gets hard burst. Let's watch his health bar real quick. Trill is full health, charges in, instantly gets burst to half by Bird and Hawk. There's the rally for the added sustain they need to finish off Trill. Jaru's gonna rally in return, and this whole time, Sharp gets knocked low, trying to kite back this way to help his team, but he's been completely ineffective. He's done almost no damage to Hawk. He did nothing to Sugar Free. Funny Astro, he's done no damage right now in this fight. Yes, he's 99% energy, but he did no damage up until this point after they killed Gator. Right. And Crimzo is forced, because his Zarya is low. Look how low Sharp is. Sharp tries to come back here. Sugar Free is already turned onto him. With the help of Hawk, I believe. No, it's just Sugar Free and Saucy. So Saucy changes targets, right? Saucy targets the Zarya really, really well right here, right? Because he's like, all right, we can handle Trill. They focus the Zarya. Sharp drops super low. The rally comes out. Jaru rallies in return, and which is a fine thing, right? But Crimzo feels that if we lose our Zarya here, we lose this fight, right? We've lost Trill. Elivote is out of mech, and if we lose our Zarya, we've got no tank line. Right? So he invests Transcendence, and instantly, you're going to see Gator's back. Later Transcendence comes from Bird, right, which is going to give him advantage. And at this point, because Trill died so late in the fight, Gator's back. Gator's full health. And he's ready to go. And he's almost got Shatter, right, from the first fight, because he's got the aggression. And Envy does back up really, really nicely.
And again, these center fights lasting a while early on, not a big surprise. Hawk
The bomb comes in to try and clear them off of point.
is going to be making a bit of space. And back.
After they kite the bomb, Envy tries to walk back in. They had to use resources. So this bomb is really nice because it forces, I think it forces space, but I think it may even force resources. We'll watch 1 minute. I think it forces resources and does damage to the shield. So Jar's going to have a shield thing. Gator's going to come around this corner before Trill gets back. Right. Lands a nice shatter onto them. Trill was in Fire Strike animation. It's a 3-man shatter. Grav comes out in return though. Oh, so this is a long fight. This is a long first fight, and I've literally been so impressed by both teams to a degree, and failed by both teams to a degree, right? Saucy started this off with Gator started this off by going into a bad position, and after Saucy gave him a bad allied bubble, right? And he gets killed. Then Atlanta Academy splits into a 3-2 really, really nicely, and pulls aggro from Sharp and Trill onto their mobile characters, who then run away from them, forcing them to be ineffective in the fight. They then find Elivote's mech. They find Trill. They invest Rally and start punishing Sharp. Alright. The Transcendence is invested from both sides. Gator is back. But what Envy does really well is they kite, right? When the Transcendence is about to end, all of Envy backs out this way. Gives presence. When the bomb comes over, they're not threatened by it. They don't get found out by it. Yes, they get shattered, but Sharp does not get shattered. He gets a nice bubble off to protect himself. If they're in a position where Atlanta has to kind of over-aggress in order to punish them, and they get this nice tempo grab in return, knowing that that beat is not up, and Trance has just been used. It's a free grab. And they win the fight. So Sharp makes a lot of mistakes here. Like, Sharp makes mistakes. He goes on the wrong target. He uses his bubble wrong. But because of the value he got onto Gator, as far as damage, and some of the damage he got later on in the fight during the Transcendence, he gets grabbed first and actually wins them the fight later with a nice tempo. Overall, I think both teams play this sloppily. This is a very sloppy fight. Neither team is doing some of the fundamental things they need to be doing. They both show great signs of life. They both are very effective. Atlanta in their 3-2 split. Envy with a nice kite away at the end of it. But investment of bubbles and resources are poor on the side of Envy to a degree. And Atlanta Academy has a poor investment of ults here, because they don't find value from Bird's Transcendence, they don't find value from Hawk's Bomb, and they don't find value from Gator's Shatter, which leaves them down 3 ultimates, and even though they found some value from Sugar Free's Rally, it's still not enough that it wins them the fight. So poor ult economy versus poor resource management. But Envy's kite is better. Their punish-ish is a little bit better in this fight. But neither team looking particularly good in that fight.
And getting first control again on City Center.
And Gator is taking a lot of damage walking in.
Fully removing a team from the point. Easier said than done here. Envy working with plenty of ults in reserve at the moment.
they won't even have to double support on this necessarily because there's no bomb. Hawk used in that fight. It's only Saucy's grab.
Sharp right now, hanging back.
No, Gator, the bubble is saved on Gator a little bit
If they see something they like,
later.
they may invest
Gator's still
2 or 3
taking a
ults,
ton
but
of damage.
end
There's
of
the
here, they're in
bubble
control.
onto Gator into a attempted
Out here,
tempo
first
grab.
out here.
However,
Response, Transcendence in from Envy.
nice counter bomb
And Envy again, taking their time,
with a
eventually
Transcendence as
poking down
well.
Hawk.
Where is Hawk during all of this?
Like, hanging back. And it's up to
Oh, he's just
Atlanta
kind
to
of
make
sitting
a
in the
move
middle
here.
here.
Maybe at some point, if they see something they like, you know, they may invest 2 or 3 ults, but end of it here, they're in control. We're gonna see the rally come out here. First grab out here from Lana.
Oh, the Diva Bomb finds him. The Diva Bomb finds his mech. Okay. Got it. He's out of position and the Diva Bomb finds him. Alright, nice. It's a nice counter bomb.
Their time, eventually poking down
The
Hawk.
rally comes in.
Man advantage.
Shatter gets blocked because he gets knocked up.
Their favorite. Atlanta
Sound
gets ready to
barrier
take
for
the fight
tempo
forward.
from
Comes
Atlanta.
in,
Nice
Hawk
tempo
charges
grab
in.
in
Sharp
return.
once more.
Alright,
Some grabs
Transcendence
to
comes
use.
out.
Everyone in.
Trill gets found out here.
Trill aimed down, poking down Hawk. Man advantage in their favor. Atlanta gonna
Trill's
try and
backing
take
up.
forward towards them.
Gets stunned and knocked into the grab, so he's in a really bad position there. Sound barrier is late from fire.
Pulls everyone in. Trill actually falling during that. Taking too much damage. Shatter. Gator and the Shatter knocks down 3 to the back.
And the Shatter
Atlanta
finds the
actually
cleanup.
doing enough here to
So
potentially
both
retake
teams are
the
playing
back.
really nice tempo and tempo grabbing correctly. Funny Astro makes a big play, booping Trill into that. I honestly think Atlanta doesn't win that if Trill gets booped. Like Ellie Ode's bomb is good, Crimso's trance is good to counter the graviton. It finds Hawk. Hawk is getting found out a little too often, and resource management was solid. Trill gets booped in, which is a nice play from Funny Astro, who doesn't get caught in the grab. Transcendence is there anyways, but it's a nice tempo grab that would have kited pressure here. But he gets booped in. He takes a ton of damage. The sound barrier doesn't come in from fire in time to save him, and then the Shatter is free because of the lack of a Rhine shield at the time, and it's really just kind of it's well played on both sides, other than really from Trill getting booped in and Hawk getting demeched, right? Hawk on the side of Atlantic Academy is getting demeched quite a bit. He's getting found out, and he's putting his team at a disadvantage in fights fairly consistently.
And he tries to drop the Shatter, gets dropped in the air, doesn't really get anything from it, allowing Gator to get set up. So Atlanta just winning the war overall with their ults, and Gator having a much better Shatter.
Now neither team's really having ults coming in.
Which is a huge miscommunication there.
An energy bubble rotation there.
Back over. Still a pretty good start.
Trill gonna wait
66%
patiently.
to them here.
Armor
Gives them
pack.
a bit of buffer for the next fight, where both teams, frankly, bit drained. Hawk and Gator,
And
though.
Trill
Shatter
and-
self-destruct all up.
I like this. I like this a lot. Also, I like this play. So Hawk and Gator are gonna bomb Shatter, right? But I like the approach here. They swing wide. They're not willing to hold this corner, right? They can back up if they need to, but they swing wide, right, and force Atlanta back into that position where they first lost the first fight.
And we taking their time, self-destruct.
How does
Hawk
the
and Gator,
bomb
though.
Shatter not?
Shatter self-destruct all up. And we taking their time, self-destruct.
Oh,
Hawk and Gator, though. Shatter
Trill's
self-destruct
just
all
not
up.
in it,
And we taking their time,
and it's a
self-destruct.
nice bubble.
Pretty early from Hawk, straight to the back.
There's a nice bubble from Sharp to block the Shatter. Crimso, this is a Hawk's bombs are actually really, really pretty. Finds Crimso. Trill forced to back off. Jaru, as soon as this is happening, he gets knocked to the side by Sugar Free. Right, so watch Jaru. Right there. Dodges the stun, but he's in a position where he's now, as the engage comes in after the Shatter, he's just going to get swung wide on here. He's just out of position. He's over engaged. Didn't get the kite. And now it should be a fight won by Atlanta Academy.
Off the bomb, gonna be forcing Envy directly off the point.
It's a nice finish. I really like the bomb plays from Atlanta. Atlanta has really nice bomb plays, something that you're not seeing from, say, some Overwatch League teams. You're definitely not seeing in the lower tier 3 scenes. These bomb plays from Atlanta Academy are very, very clean. They're using rally bomb to push in. The bomb placements are good. The Shatter bomb, you're just always putting the enemy team at a back foot, and even if you're not finding a pick with the bomb, which they're still finding picks with the bomb, They're finding value onto other
Grab.
players on the side of
But they don't
Envy
have bomb.
who are
Not
forced out of
control
position,
happening
and it's
because
I
that's
love
the
these
first
aggressive
move.
bombs.
Those Transcendents, they're gonna have to look to set up.
I really don't
target
like
if they
using
pick from
bomb grab anymore. I think counter bombs or aggressive bombs are the way to
In the end,
go.
though, I think it's still okay, right? Because worst case scenario, you're just trading out grab for Transcendence.
But,
It's not too bad here for Atlanta. That's probably going to be exactly
Atlanta's
what
in a
happens
nice
here.
place.
The problem is, of course, MV getting close to a grab bomb of their own, so they're going to have a bit more heavy artillery as the fight starts getting to play. But it's all even up, 66 to 66.
Reappro-
Track has been on point here. They might even just use Sugar Free Rally to try to force this finish early.
Rallies on both sides at about the same
Dario,
time.
Sugar
And you're going to see this time, instead of trying to fight at that corner, Atlanta's just going to kite this way. Which is, Hawk is in a weird position. This isn't really a flank.
Free both trading those rallies out.
Rallies in for both sides. Grab
Gets
time.
back, there's the
Some
grab.
sides. There's gonna be
Gator
Trill
goes for a
over here.
back
Trill
pin, and
going
it
for
gets
Transcendence.
caught on the wall. It's a good play, though.
Transcendence keeps him on up. Now he looks to
Nice
Sharp.
Transcendence.
Graviton ready. Elbow waiting for the spots.
Ooh. This is a really interesting grab. Unfortunately, the only person on the other, if they're in a better position, they find something, I think. I don't even know if they find something at this moment. I don't remember correctly from when I watched this the first time, but, this is a nice grab. It splits them really, really well. Well,
Right after
pulls
Sharp.
them out of position.
Also
There's
after
the
comes
bomb,
up. He's gonna drop the
but,
self-destruct right over to the back. And the shield after Sharp drops the grab. Here comes Elbow. He's gonna drop the self-destruct
oh,
right
Funny
over to the
Astro
back.
gets knocked
But the
out
spots right after
by
Sharp
this.
drops the grab. Here comes Elbow. He's gonna drop the self.
Right, he gets booped? Where is Funny
Right
Astro?
over
What?
to the back.
Excuse me?
And the spots right after Sharp drops the grab.
Oh,
Here
he's
comes
over on
Elbow.
the right side. Oh, the tree,
Self-destruct.
he gets killed behind the tree over here. That's really unfortunate. He tries. But everyone else survives. Saucy gets a nice bubble to block the charge, but Sugar Free gets caught out of position, getting dropped and pinned. Gator gonna fall as well. But 90% for Atlanta. They kite it out, make it a long fight. They force the rally E. They force the grab. They force the bomb. They had Transcendence last fight. Right, so it's not a bad fight for them. They're coming up on their own bomb. They have Shatter. They have Sound Barrier. So pretty even fight coming into this. Saucy's a little bit behind, though. He's not finding as much value as you'd like. He's playing very passively next to his Rhine and on top of his Rhine, whereas Sharp's playing a little bit more aggressive and wide.
One fight territory as they move in. Still eminently winnable. Deal to have
So.
on board. Sure, it might go in overtime again.
Gator
This fight here
pushes
gets decided
aggressively.
off this round. If Atlanta wins, first map gonna be to them.
Shatter doesn't find anything on well, Shatter finds Elevote.
Down elbow early. Shatter the other way. No.
Ooh.
Shatter in overtime again. This fight here gets decided off this round. If Atlanta wins, first map gonna be to them.
So this finds Elevote. And the Sound Barrier comes out from fire to keep everybody up.
Knocking down
Trill finds a nice Shatter, and you notice the bomb comes out, everybody moves forward this way. So the bomb is thrown poorly from Hawk here. The idea is good, but the execution is bad because the whole enemy team's going to run this way and the bomb's going to land over here.
elbow early.
They land a
the other
nice
way.
Shatter.
So much
They finish
bigger.
off Gator.
That's a good ult Trill.
Crimzo gets found anyways,
Not
but
only was it
they
bigger,
clean it up
it interrupted Funny Astro.
really,
Lost
really
it
well.
because of it.
Oh,
Huge
I didn't even
ult.
notice that.
Shatter the other way. Not beats them. Shatter going overtime again. This fight here gets decided off this round. If Atlanta wins, first map gonna be to them. Shatter. In
Oh,
early from Gator, and again knocking down elbow early. Shatter the other way. Not beats them.
Where's Funny
Shatter.
Astro?
In early from Gator, and again knocking down elbow early.
Oh, Funny
Shatter the
Astro
other way.
does. He gets caught on the wall coming down as it comes around the corner and finds him. Oh, that's so unfortunate.
Not only was
There's a
it
Trill
bigger, it
master of
interrupted Funny
big
Astro.
shatters.
Lost it because of it. Huge ult from Trill.
Well,
So-
there's a copy pasta for that. And Envy says, you know what? We're going to be going over to round 3. We're not going to let this end here. Just
So big, getting a little bit of sound delay, but big things right here are from Atlanta Academy in this round are Hawk gets demeched, and Saucy is how to phrase. Saucy is playing too much on top of his Rhine. He's not finding the same damage output and grav charge as Sharp is, which means Team Envy is ahead on that ultimate charge, is going to have an advantage on that, and is going to find a higher damage value, which means Atlanta Academy is forced to invest ults in a way that maybe they don't want to, or to kite fights in a way that is unfortunate. And so right now, yes, Hawk's aggressive bomb plays are good, but as for his just positioning in general, he's getting caught out too often, and he's getting stunned. He's losing high ground priority. He's not getting as much support as maybe he needs, but it's honestly, it's just definitely the weak links right here are Saucy and Sugar Free. Funny Astro is playing pretty well. Bird is playing pretty well and not getting really caught out other than that first fight, the first point. And, overall, it's the tank line that's kind of hard, that's kind of putting Atlanta Academy at a disadvantage. So. More goats.
And thus far, I mean, it's lived up to the billing where Atlanta, we kind of knew coming in that they would still be able to give Envy a bit of a fight. Envy, though.
So both teams fighting here. What you're going to see is already Sharp is at this angle. And I almost made a he's at a sharp angle pun. But this angle is so good because he's got value here and he's got value here. So he covers this entire area really nicely. Whereas right now, and he's rolled out a lot quicker. Jaru's in a good position to support. All right, Sugar Free is in here. I don't like this position from Sugar Free. It makes it hard for him to support Gator with his Inspire. Jaru could be Jaru's in a good spot. Both Luces are on the wall. But right now, I'm looking for where Saucy sets up.
Looking pretty good, especially now they haven't done anything crazy.
Yeah, so look at where Saucy is, right? Let's take a comparison. Look at this. Here's Gator, right? And Saucy is in a direct line behind him. So all of Saucy and Gator's damage is coming out in this line, right? We don't really count Hawk. Hawk is taking an off angle, yes. But there's an enemy diva, I'm pretty sure, like right here. Trill is this way. You've got Crimzo coming from here, and you've got Sharp coming from here, right? This is so much more value just from Sharp's wide off angle position. And the only difference here is actually, I take it back what I said. I think actually, I don't mind Sugar Free's position here. He rotates this way and then comes wall and then goes for the shatter. Hawk has a nice back angle. Goes for the bash. Has a nice back angle. And they get a nice burst down. So, excuse me. So, yeah. So Sugar Free rotates here, right? Where is Elivote?
Crazy, like swapping Envy though. Looking pretty good, especially now.
Elivote doesn't take prio in room. Okay, so this is I like Sharp. I don't mind Jaru, and Trill is in a good spot. Elivote is in a horrible spot in my mind, right? Elivote doesn't take room priority, which, to be fair, would be risky. But I mean, at the very least, even if he loses room prio, to the break here, he might force out Bash, right? But he's not even in this fight, which gives Hawk such a nice off angle right here and allows Sugar Free to push in onto Trill. Also, Gator swings wide really nicely here onto Trill around this corner as the Bash is ready to come in. But Elivote is back here and has to fly back this way to even get into the fight. So it's really poor from Elivote. I actually really like where Atlanta sends the brig there. Trill gets burst early. There's the rotation. Elivote doesn't take prio. Early bubble from Sharp. Let's look at armor pack usage. Just okay. Jaru. Right here, right? He's taking poke. Trill doesn't have Harmony? Question
Good,
mark?
especially now that they haven't done anything crazy like swapping Hammond in the very beginning.
Am I just missing it?
Looking pretty good, especially able to give Envy a bit of a fight. Envy though,
No, Crimzo has a
pretty good,
line
especially now
onto
they
him. Where's Harmony Orb?
haven't done anything crazy like Envy though. Looking pretty good, especially now that they haven't done anything crazy like swapping Hammond in the very beginning.
Maybe I just can't see it. I think he has it. But this
Looking pretty good,
this armor
especially
pack is
able to
really,
give
really
Envy a
poor.
bit of a fight.
Trill takes a little bit of damage, not much, right?
Pretty good,
Enough,
especially now
right?
that they haven't done anything
Gator tries to
crazy like
push in.
swapping Hammond in-
The armor pack comes in early. The bubble is forced because of the wide rotation from Gator. Sugar Free bashes afterwards. No bubble. An early bubble into an early pack
Early on, and all right,
means it's a
Trill is
free
down.
kill onto Trill.
Goes down a much better focus fire.
Really poor resource management and positioning from Envy in that fight. Sharp's in a good position, but Elivote is in a bad position, and Jaru and Sharp use the resources really, really poorly. Bubble and armor pack are bad in that situation.
Envy,
So
Crimson, able to get down Bird.
That's so
To Envy's
huge.
end, it just buys not only time here, but Envy can roll in with the
That's so.
how does Crimson find Bird?
So, Envy,
Ooh,
Crimson, able to get down Bird.
That's so
To
huge.
Envy's end, it just buys
yeah,
not
Crimson
only
finds
time
Bird.
here, but Envy can roll in with the 6v5. This is going to make for a very, very good recontest.
Yeah, there's no ult really up for Atlantic.
In with the 6v5, this is going to make for a very, very good recontest.
Good bubble
There's
to
no
block
ult
the
really up
pin.
for Atlantic Academy either. They're gonna have to go back, but I don't think
And this is a bait. This is a huge
they're
bait.
gonna be able to because look at this pressure. But Funny Astro takes Sharp again.
Oh, Sharp might be down, but so is Gator. Trill able to make it worthwhile. Trill with two off into the
And this
side.
is
The
this
root
is
down
a
on the left.
okay.
And
All
Envy
right, we're just gonna wait for this fight to end.
should be able to recap this.
They will. They'll definitely retake it now. Trill getting so many frags there. Even with
So we're gonna back it up, right?
Sharp going down, they will.
Depth on the left, but so is Gator.
So the added
Because
sustain
that's
here,
time here, but Envy can roll in.
because Bird falls to Crimzo here, right? One, yeah, it's gonna put you at an old advantage, but two, you're gonna have a sustain and damage disadvantage as Atlantic Academy. So Gator's gonna go for this play, here with the pin, and hope he finds something. If he doesn't, it's okay because it's still kind of a bait, right? Because once Gator's here, he's gonna try and back up, right? Sugar Free's gonna rotate around this way with Funny Astro and Hawk to all collapse this way, right? What they're trying to do here is get Envy to invest into here, so that then they can and kind of put them in their own pincher with the backup from here into here, and put Saucy in a really nice position. The issue is they don't have the added sustain and added damage of their Zenyatta.
The
It
6v5,
still
this is gonna make for
works to a
very,
degree,
very
right?
good
Gator
recontest.
goes for the pin.
No ult really
He
up for
backs
Atlantic.
up, right? And now Sugar Free's going to come in from the other side with Hawk and Funny Astro. They're going to try to relieve pressure and try to pinch as Saucy rotates back a little bit to continue this angle. Well, this isn't a bad idea. They over-engage a
Go
bit.
back, but I don't think they're
eh,
gonna be
Like, yes, they find Sharp. Hawk needs to, when Hawk flies in here, right, he needs to back out this way or back out this way, right? Like, he cannot stay in this room.
able to because look at this pressure. But Funny
Trill just kind of
Astro takes
not
Sharp
gonna
for
say,
Atlantic Academy
it's
either.
just
They're
gonna
have
say,
to
hey,
go
we're gonna
back, but I
find
don't think they're
Gator.
able to because look at this pressure. But Funny Astro takes Sharp again.
Sugar Free is in a bad position, and now he really can't sustain there. Saucy tries to rotate wrong, while Sugar Free rotates away from him, so he can't get Bubble onto him to save him. And Hawk will fall in the end. This is a horrible bomb. I don't know what the idea here is,
And Envy,
but really a big issue is like the Harmony Orb in the Discord, right?
Frags there.
Without that,
Even with Sharp going down,
it's almost impossible
damage
to
onto the front line for Atlanta
win that
from Envy
fight,
is just huge.
especially with a bait
Can't come
play
back
like
and
that.
grab that little
It's
health
not a
back.
bad play. It's a
Well, no,
really
I-
nice design play, but it's overall with Bird
Take a look
falling,
at Envy off of that.
it's just kind of
Because the
unfortunate.
early pickoff and how decisive the fight was, they're just absolutely set for the next fight.
They're set in more ways than one because it's not just the ult economy. Hawk invested bomb. Hawk invested bomb that fight, so they don't have to worry about combos.
So this, I want to talk about this, right? Because we talk about like where Saucy was, right? Like, yes. Saucy was in kind of this position, right? And Gator backed up into him. Sharp is continually holding like almost perpendicular. This would be perpendicular, I guess. That's parallel to Trill, right? They're almost like far away from each other. Meanwhile, Saucy and Gator are kind of holding like this in a straight line, right? Going forward. So this is a beautiful thing. They're going to try and swing wide onto Trill here, right? Trill has back up to back this way. Elevote has DM if need be. Jaru is here. Sharp has an angle to get a bubble off, and he's got a crossfire angle to put damage in. This isn't a bad position, right? They have given Hawk hallway again, which I don't like, but should be okay.
That fire doesn't have beat.
Trill's going to back up. That is their rally.
Under a bit of pressure here.
Sharp actually takes a decent chunk of damage.
Big power.
So
they don't have to war ways in one because it's not just the ult economy.
I want to pay attention to what
Hawk invested bomb.
Bird does
Hawk
here.
invested bomb that fight, so they don't have to
Bird
worry
is
about
just
combos.
punishing Sharp.
That fire doesn't have
Bird is putting so much damage into Sharp.
Trill.
And this is what Bird should be doing, right? Like, he can leave Discord here if he puts damage here, right? Because he wants to dissuade Sharp from being over here, being at this aggressive off angle. The rally comes in. They saved the bubble and kited really nicely, Envy did. They kited so well, right? Like, and they're ready. They're saying, all right, we're going to kite. We'll have bubble advantage. We're going to have rally second, and we'll be able to push back in. That's great, right? Oh, that's a great plan until Funny Astro comes along and boops into the pit. Super unfortunate. Elevote's going to have to go in to try and stall. Going to get demacked and has to bomb. How does this find Gator? What?
Another Elevote able to find Gator. Look for Trill. Incendiary's coming back up, but Grab's on one side. Bomb in on the other. Elevote
Oh, Gator's just getting poked down by Elevote either way. Yeah.
Able to work their way back. Was a very tough situation.
And you see Atlanta, they don't get many ults in this fight. Looks like they're going to have to because at this rate, if they don't win it, their ult economy is going to be in shambles.
Well, I got news for you. Atlanta's ult economy, it's going to be in shambles.
It is going to be in shambles. Probably overcommitted to this fight.
Ult economy.
So right, let's watch this. Let's watch this. This is a really interesting fight. Right here. Start right here. Point 5. Right. So right here, this is big from Funny Astro, right? So Sharp is getting poked down really nicely by Bird, but Team Envy's going to say we're going to kite. Team Envy has a nice kite style. It works out. Trill, they save bubble too, and they have rally for re-engage. It's good until Trill gets booped into the pit. But they continue to kite, right? They wait. Elevote goes to re-engage. Sugar Free gets burst a little bit by Crimzo. And even in the pit, Trill's a threat. Because if they fight here continually, right, Trill can either find a pin coming out here or he can find a flank shatter. So they have to invest here to try and kill Trill while he's coming out and is super separated from his team. But in doing so, they turn their back to the re-engaging Envy. And it's not a bad play, right, for Atlanta to not over-invest into the kiting Envy. But it's not great to just kind of stay out in the open here. I don't think investing in Trill here is the option. I think they should kite and wait for Trill to come back. I can try to take a fight at that point. But it's really hard, right? They have to try and push their advantage. They've already invested resources. So Gator's going to go this way. Hawk has turned around to deal with Elevote. Oh, Sharp's going to find a free grab. So they're going to bubble. Yeah, so Trill tries to go for this charge. Actually gets out. Gator gets knocked low. In an attempt to save Gator and change the tempo as they're getting pushed back into, they grab Crimzo has Transcendence, though. And Elivo got demeched over here. But he's got Fire with him for the support. He's pummeling the back of Gator, and he's got Bomb. So now they're in a weird position where this actually turned into a counter bomb play. Hey, which I don't think was necessarily completely intentional, but I think it works out. But it works out because Elivo says, hey, Gator, you can't go in without dealing with my bomb. Gator is low anyways, and gets dropped by the bomb. Sugar Free tried to punish the grab and is actually out of position here. The sound barrier comes in while there's still Transcendence. And at the same time, so this isn't going to stop Team Envy. They're still full health even when the sound barrier comes in. And they note that Atlanta is still backing up. They're going to grab themselves. Jaru overextends and gets punished by Saucy. But Trill gets a nice bubble. And he's going to find a nice pin onto this grab despite the Transcendence onto Sugar Free. So now we've traded that. Both support ults have been used from Atlanta Academy. Saucy's on the corner here. He's out of position. They're going to run on top of him as he tries to get out. And they're going to chase them down. And that's going to be a fight win right there. Gator, is Gator try to push back in? No, Gator's just kind of swinging. Right, so something that's very impressive about how Team Envy plays the game, right? We talk about, say, like a San Francisco Shock who play this very bubble baiting style. They'll bait bubbles, they'll kite backwards, and then once they'll force you to use your own bubbles, and then they'll kite backwards, and then once they have that bubble advantage, they'll re-engage, right? The Envy doesn't follow that style. Envy has a very methodical style. They'll take these mid fights. They'll take their poke. They'll use their resources well for the most part. All right, kite backwards or it's really far. Give up ground. Threaten you to overextend and to use resources to try and get a punish-ish on them at that more even fight. And then they're going to kite, re-engage, age, and punish you in return. And it's a very nice style. They've kited fights well, effectively. On City Center, they kited the Shatter and got a nice tempo grab that cleaned up the fight for them. I think fights where they've gone aggressive and like super aggressive, say the second fight on Gardens where the Hammond went into Hookah, I think is a sloppy fight. I think it's a poorly done fight. It's a poorly timed fight. And I don't think it fits their play style well, and I think it gets punished really, really well by Atlanta. But Envy has a very nice, methodical play style. Well, they're willing to invest second. They're willing to invest ults at certain points. Nice to swing back the advantage and to change the tempo back into their favor when they see the overinvest from Atlanta.
Envy holding back. Trill holding on to Shatter.
And Trill's baiting, right? Like Trill knows they're gonna swing onto him and he's gonna back up, right? Every time he's gonna back up. Sound barrier's gonna come out from Fire as this bomb comes in just to make sure everyone stays alive. Good bubbles. And Elivo, this is again Hawk, right? So that last fight we didn't even talk about it, but Hawk had used bomb beforehand, so we didn't have bomb for that last fight. But the bomb comes through, and Elivote actually took Prio in this room for once and goes and punishes the Baby Diva, finishes it off. Nice beat. Shatter on both sides is going to find Gator. But what you're going to see, right, is Elivote pulls Saucy's attention, but Saucy's still not in a good position, right? When the bomb comes in, Atlanta doesn't push through here and take presence on the point holding like here, right? Like holding this. Let me draw this better. This area, right? With there's Arya on one side and the Ryan on the other. They're on top of each other, which means that Sharp is instantly going to find more value. He's coming from an off angle. It's a lot harder to block versus the damage that's still coming from over here. They also don't have the Diva for damage mitigation.
Guys, Hawk can't get back in the mech. Elevo chases him down.
Trill's too far
In the
away,
middle
right?
of that
Saucy's
turn,
not in a
it's still
position to
mana
punish that. Trill is too far away for him to get
advantage,
value.
and he does
You know,
her
Gator falls.
But that could be enough for Atlanta. The bomb play, not worthwhile if you're gonna lose Hawk in the process.
Incredibly smart play from Elegoat there, recognizing
And so, essentially, Hawk using his bomb earlier meant that they lost the fight, the next fight without bomb, and then Elevote punishes him well for taking a weird off-angle bomb. That's not capitalized on by Atlanta Academy. Atlanta Academy does not push in off of the bomb well, which is weird, right? Let's actually watch. I'm curious as to, so
Trail holding on to Shatter.
Gator
And
gets
again,
dropped
Atlanta's
low.
gone for the heavy focus fire early on. Bomb
Where's Armor
holding
Pack
on
in
to
this fight?
Shatter. And again, Atlanta's gone for the heavy focus fire early on. Bomb directly moving in. Giving
It's
Sugar
late. Armor Pack is late. He used it earlier. So because Sugar Free used Armor Pack earlier, it's late on the Gator, which means that when Gator starts this engage, yes, he has bubble,
Trail holding on
but
to
he's
Shatter.
going to take
And
so
again,
much
Atlanta's gone for the heavy
damage.
focus fire-
It's that they cannot. What should be happening here, regardless of what's happening with Hawk and Elevote, is Gator should be in this area, or at least on top of Jaru, and Saucy should be out here, right? They should have taken space. Instead, Gator is brought low at half
early on.
health,
Bomb
cannot
directly
push
moving in.
in.
Giving Sugar away.
Now he gets it, the rally,
Hawk can't
but
get back
they're
in the mech. Elevo chases
they're
him down.
forced to
In
give
the
up
middle of that-
space, which puts Saucy in a position where he's not going to be able to find value.
So it's still a man advantage to
Excuse
A.
me,
There's
onto
a
the
room
Shattered
for
Trill.
Could be enough for Atlanta. The bomb
Gator
play,
gets found out by
not
Sharp,
worthwhile if you're
and
gonna
it's a
lose
team
Hawk
fight
in the
win.
process.
incredibly smart play from Elegoat there.
And now they really don't have anything to work with. Gator
So he goes to the back, he hunts
trying
him
to come
down
back.
with uniform.
They have Grav, they have Transcendence, but Crimzo, but it's the same on the enemy side. Elevote has Bomb in an actually good fight. Right? And so because Hawk uses his Bomb at a bad time the first time, it's kind of a desperation fight to try and win that with Bomb on the engage, right?
We're in overtime. Final
There's the
opportunity
Grav.
here for Atlanta in the map. Graviton.
Transcendence is going to come up, but way too late. Whoa, Bird.
We're in overtime.
Oh,
Final
Bird doesn't
opportunity
have
for
it.
Atlanta in the
Bird
map.
gets it
Graviton.
late. They track
Here
this
in the
really
grand
nicely.
final.
Bird doesn't have it.
We're in overtime.
It
Final opportunity
Gator
here for
gets
Atlanta in the map.
it's
Graviton.
killed. The bomb comes over the top just in case. The Shatters finishes them off, and the bomb finds 3, and it'll just be the cleanup on the Bird.
Here in our first of 4.
And so,
Atlanta gonna fall. Here
what you're gonna see, what did you see here, right? Let me let's get to the
Elegoat making some
Just-
key plays there.
the big issues for Atlanta, right, are positional. I'll shorten these. Positional, mainly Saucy / Hawk. Let me specify this is Atlanta issues. / Hawk. Hawk gets found out a lot. He even got found out and was forced to use his bomb on this last map, but he got found out on the maps before that a couple times and put his team at a disadvantage when he's get demacked. And Saucy is not finding damage value. He's not taking off angles. He's sitting on top of his Reinhardt. All right. And so those are the big positional mistakes. 2, resource. The big issue here is that is from Saucy again and Sugar Free. Okay, Sugar Free's armor packs are decent sometimes, but other times they're used way too early, right? They're getting used early, and they're getting punished because they're getting used early, or he's not paying enough attention to his Rhine, and they're coming in late, which means that Gator's stuck at half health for way longer than he should be. And Saucy's bubbles are early when you only really need the armor pack to sustain your Reinhardt. Instead, Saucy's investing bubbles to try and keep him at the same time where they're investing armor pack. We saw it on that first fight on City Center, where he only needed the armor pack to be put back to full health, but they invest bubbles onto him anyways, and then they try to re-engage. They lose the fight at a resource disadvantage. And then the third big issue is ult economy, right? And this is kind of everyone, but I want to talk mainly about Hawk. And Hawk and Bird, right? Bird is using Transcendence in rougher spots. Sometimes we saw it on Garden where he used it as a tempo trance when they had Grav. They almost had Grav. They still ended up winning that fight because Trill was out of position and made a mistake, but still not the greatest trance. So I think he's definitely something to watch as far as his use of Transcendence. And Hawk, his bomb engages when they have that plan are good, but they're not playing. But sometimes his counter bombs are positioned poorly. He's using bombs for remech a couple times, and so it's giving them a massive disadvantage in some of these fights. I think they're also not giving Bird enough time to farm Transcendence. There was a couple times where he got caught out without Transcendence with a Grav, either because he used it too early or because they didn't give him enough time. Like that last fight, he was at 97%, and I mean, it's really hard right there, right? But like they haven't given him enough time to use it. I think the biggest issue for Atlanta, though, is how all of this informs tempo, right? Right? Hey, you're playing into Envy, who's a very counter style team. They're not respecting the counter style team. They're making sloppy decisions, and their resource management and positioning are being punished. And right now, Saucy's the biggest issue. Saucy is overall the biggest offender. Saucy is the weak spot of Atlanta, and Atlanta is willing to over-aggress and over-invest in fights that they are not winning. So for me personally, I definitely think that's an issue, especially playing into such a patient team like Envy. Meanwhile, on the side of Envy, you're seeing a couple things. Tempo. Oh, yes, they have decent tempo. But Trill is getting caught out in these mid fights, in like these middle areas too much. He's not kiting properly all the time. He's trying to make these big plays sometimes, whereas he should be kiting or he should be playing around corners more, which is an issue. They occasionally have poor resource management, and I think generally where they take their fights is a big issue for them. They're taking fights like the one they took with Hammond and on Garden in a bad position. They're trying to go aggressive. It's in a bad area. It's not ideal, and they're getting punished for it. Trill's taking fights not on these corners. He's trying to make plays outside of it. They're taking fights in these weird middle open areas and trying to rush certain things a couple times, and they've been punished because of it. Otherwise, I don't think it's too big of an issue. The one thing I would like to see from them is, how do I phrase this? I think they're decent. I'd like to see better positioning from Jaru and Elivote, because Elivote is giving up priority, say like he did in hallway here. He's giving up priority on high ground a couple times unnecessarily, He's giving up some of that positioning, and Jaru's in these weird spots where Sugar Free's finding a lot of value from taking these weird angles that are giving him bashes, nice bashes and nice stuns onto Trill that are punishing some of Trill's mispositions. And Jaru's not doing that. Jaru's packs are better than Sugar Free's, but he's not. He's playing this very, very passive style. Well, that's not finding enough value out of his bashes. Yes, he found a nice one on. He nearly found a nice one on Garden, but Sugar Free was in a better position. Found a better one. Overall, Team Envy's playing really, really well with tempo. Their tempo is pretty good, other than the couple times Trill's getting caught out. Their ult economy is solid. They have an ult plan, and they're following up. They're swinging wide really nicely, and they're punishing poor resource management on the side of Atlanta Academy really, really nicely. Atlanta Academy, I think if they played a little bit differently, if they sent Saucy out wider to get more value from him, if they used their bubbles and their armor packs a little bit better, I think they would find a lot more value. And I think they could potentially win this. I think they need to be more patient or go for a bubble bait style. Either they go for a San Francisco Shock bubble bait style to try and bait Envy into over aggressing, or they need to play more patient. And when Envy kites, they need to kite as well to try and have an ult advantage and to win that way, or even to try to get Envy to make a move and make a mistake unnecessarily. It means a slower game, but I think that wouldn't be bad for Atlanta. They seem to be very hyper aggressive. If they want to get in, they want to go forward, but their poor resource management and poor positioning are really making them very punishable. Well, in these fights, it's because that aggression is not fostered well by their resources. So I think the slower game may actually be more advantageous to them at this point, right? But overall, it's a nice game. Both teams are solid and they're well matched, and excited to see the rest of the match.